I'm pretty humbled because in a few moments we're going up to Washington, D.C. to talk to a United States Senator. I mean, people that serve our country in that capacity, whether it's military or politicians, I mean, they are giving back in an amazing way. And our next guest served in the military, now is a U.S. Senator from the state of Arkansas. He's out with his brand new book, Sacred Duty. Sir, thank you for joining us. And what first led you into the military?
It was the 9/11 attacks, Conn. I was in law school the day that happened, and I knew my life had changed from that point forward. I didn't really want to be a lawyer so much anymore. I did work for a couple years to repay my loans, but then I signed up and became an infantry officer to serve in Iraq and Afghanistan. As I write in Sacred Duty, that's really what motivated me to join the Army, and it also is what set me on the course to serve at Arlington National Cemetery between my two tours in Iraq and Afghanistan.
Certainly, thank you for your service. Honorable Tom Conn, again, thank you for joining us, and we're going to find out more about your book. But Tom, I watched a documentary on the Unknown Tomb, and it talked about the soldiers and the role that you played there, in particular about the attention to detail and discipline. Tell us more.
The Old Guard has a single standard for all military honor funerals in Arlington. It's perfection, because there are no do-overs in Arlington National Cemetery. That's why, as I write in Sacred Duty, it can take 2 to 3 months for a soldier to be trained and fully certified before he performs a funeral in Arlington National Cemetery. That requires learning the Old Guard's very unique way of marching, some of the small unit tasks like folding a flag perfectly at exactly a minute and 55 seconds, and preparing your uniform from scratch. Most of the medals you see on Old Guard soldiers are made from scratch from materials you might get at a Hobby Lobby or a hardware store. They're not just off-the-rack materials, because we all knew when we walked in that cemetery, even though we might be performing 6 or 7 funerals in a day, for that fallen hero, for that family, that was a once-in-a-lifetime moment, and it was a lifetime in the making, and we had to get it exactly right.
Well, Tom, I'm certainly glad you found the time to put the attention to detail into this book. It's fascinating. It's a must-read. What have you taken from your military service that you've applied to your life today?
I do tend to wake up pretty early, Conn, to get in my morning PT, as we'd call it in the Army. You know, in the Old Guard, especially during the weeks when we perform military honor funerals, we'd be up even earlier, because we'd go out in the cemetery to do an early recon of the grave sites for the day, even though funeral techniques and processions didn't change based on the grave site. Obviously, where the location of that grave site, whether it was on a hill or around trees or what have you, could impact the conduct of a funeral, and we wanted to make sure that we had seen all that well in advance. Just another reminder of the kind of dedication to duty and the striving for perfection that the Old Guard achieved. And I think that's really a lesson that anyone can take into their own lives. You don't have to be 6'4" and 180 pounds and learn how to march in exactly the Old Guard precision style to know that you can always strive to do better, to aim higher, and to try to get everything right in your day-to-day life, whether it's being a parent or being a husband or wife or working on the job. That kind of ethos of excellence really can apply across one's life.
If you don't mind me repeating it, because I loved how you said it, ethos of excellence. I think if we all put that as a goal of ours, the world would be definitely a better place. And Tom, one of the things I've come to appreciate about you in Washington is what a great listener you are. Tell us about that skill and what's allowed you to be so.
Conn, I entered the Army, as I said, a little later in life. You know, most new lieutenants are 22. I was closer to 30 when I entered. I'd been in the workforce, so I'd learned a lot of the wisdom from my elders. I'd had more than one paralegal pull my fat out of the fire as I was a young lawyer. So I really took to heart what so many people, including my own father who was in the Army, told me when I signed up, which is listen to your NCOs, listen to those sergeants who are there to help set you up for success. You might outrank them, but they have a lot more experience than you do. And whether I was in basic training or officer candidate school or ranger school or leading a platoon in Iraq, I found that listening to those around you who had more experience than you did, even if you had skills or training that they didn't, was the best way to be set up for success. I think that's a lesson that everyone can apply in all walks of life.
Senator, you certainly inspire in so many different ways. Thank you for the book. And if you don't mind me asking this specific question as it relates to our grads out there getting out of high school or college and they're going out to the workforce or serving our military, what advice do you give them today?
Conn, I'd advise them just to do their job. You know, when you start out early in life, whether you're 18 years old coming out of high school or 22 years old coming out of college, sometimes you may not have the exact job you want. You may be aspiring for a higher job, but the best way to move on and advance on the professional world is to do your job. And if you read Sacred Duty, you'll find a lot of amazing young soldiers, 18, 19 years old, who have been entrusted with one of the most prominent and sensitive jobs in the United States military, really in our country, which is to honor our fallen war heroes. So if you, no matter what you're doing in life, if you focus on doing the task at hand, people around you will take notice. They'll appreciate it. They'll give you more chances, more opportunities to move up in the world.
Well, Senator Conn, you certainly inspire us. Thank you for your gift that you've given all of us, Sacred Duty. All the best up there in Washington, and thank you for making time for us.
Thank you, Conn.